Okay, Andy. So look, we're gonna take the body,
Right?
All right, we're gonna put it behind the house.
Okay.
Okay. We're just gonna, and we're also gonna turn this music off, because we're just gonna because we don't need music during our plans here.
And,
Okay.
are they still doing construction on the bridge?
Yeah, I think they might be. It might be. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I think we're live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monkey House on WVUM 90.5 FM, the voice of the University of Miami. My name is Israel, otherwise known as Izzy.
And I'm Andy.
And thank you all for joining us here today. Oh my God, it is Alumni Week 2023. And once again, we are respecting this time-honored tradition by being here and delivering a special for all of you today. And joining us today, we also have a very good friend of ours. He's the former music director of WVUM, former host of EKL, expert on starfish reproduction, and current space cowboy, Mr. Peter Melero, everyone.
Hello, it's nice to be back on the air.
It's nice to have you, man.
I was back on the air a while ago, but in a musical capacity. So this is the first time since graduation that I've been here in the capacity of a talk show. So I'm very happy to be back in that regard.
Very good. And today is also a very special day on campus because today is homecoming. We came today, and we're just, if you turn behind us where you are, let's just picture the situation for a moment. We're in this studio. There's a bunch of windows around us. It's a very nice, well-ventilated studio and everything. And there's all of these, ice cream trucks, food trucks behind us, and hordes of people. So I wouldn't be surprised if you hear the sounds of homecoming at some point within this special, which will run for approximately 2 hours. So we're going to have a lot planned for today. But yeah, very special day for a lot of, current Canes, former Canes, and of course, we're very happy to be here. We have a lot of memories, here with the Monkey House, which for those of you who are hearing about us for the very first time, the Monkey House ran from 2017 to 2019. I started it with my friend and co-host Andy here.
Yep.
As we tell the story every year, we met in Spanish class, out of all places.
Oh, that was fun. Yes.
It was like one of those serendipitous sort of things because here's the thing. I joined the Spanish class, and I was in a different section at first. And then I think at some point they had to switch around the sections. I think some teacher left or whatever. And eventually we just wound up in the same section, sat next to each other, got to know each other. And, well, the rest is history, really.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why Hispanics need to take Spanish class, it's because, you know what? You actually have to learn the language. You gotta, learn to read and write it. You don't just, get that properly all the time. So, yeah. Fun stuff.
Very fun stuff. But yeah, we ran the show from 2017 to 2019. The period in which we started it was very interesting because we knew that we wanted the show to be a variety talk show largely focused on current events.
Right.
And during that period of time, it was basically the beginning of the Trump administration. And so we talked about a lot of the issues that had arisen during that period and a lot of the issues that, have continued ever since, really. And we had, a myriad of different guests. We had artists. We had people representing the student body. We had people representing clubs. We had a lot of different types of people, really. It was joyous. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of shenanigans for sure. And it's amazing to really see how much has changed, I would say, ever since we had our last show, our last official show from the run back in 2019.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely. Which, mind you, college is definitely the right place to have this kind of show. I feel like professionally too, beyond would be great. But at the end of the day, it was a really nice opportunity to be able to come up here and just, hey, we're students, we represent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's just talk about what's going on and not get so lost in the terminology and things that are happening, and maybe get a clearer head or a clear picture about like what's happening politically around us, right? And it was a pretty good time.
Yeah, I really felt that this was
For us.
almost like not just kind of like a soapbox where we could get some of our thoughts out there, but also a way, that we could actually have like discourse with a lot of different types of people. And it was kind of an outlet that made us feel more connected to the community as a whole. And one of the messages that we always want to reinforce every time we do Alumni Week is, and this is for anyone who is currently attending, whether you are an undergrad or a graduate student, you have this amazing studio, this amazing station right here. And if you have an idea that you'd like to pursue, whether it be a talk show, whether it be a music show or any sort of specialty show, really, feel free to reach out to WVUM to pitch your show and see where things go from there. We have a lot of great people, talented people working for the station. We're very honored that they've invited us back for Alumni Week. And certainly, if you have the inclination, the idea to do so, I would encourage you, pursue it.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
I could not agree more as well. So we're all canes here, but really I'm more of a candy cane right now. You have no idea how much how much candy I've binged in the past.
'Tis the season.
In the past, no, Halloween is my favorite holiday because it's acceptable to eat
But surely for
amounts.
other reasons too,
gross
I
amounts.
imagine.
Yeah, I just really
You like pumpkins? You like
yeah, pumpkins are right.
you like spooky stuff?
I do like spooky stuff. I enjoy the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is equally a Halloween film and Christmas film at the same time. Equally.
Equally.
That's the hill you're standing on.
Okay.
Yes, equally is 50% fully.
Okay, because some
Okay.
people might disagree
Each.
with you on that. I'm sure you know. Some people might say it's entirely a Christmas or
Well,
entirely
some
Halloween.
people,
Yeah.
some
Some people in this room, maybe.
some people in this room. I don't know. I feel it's the same type of people who say that Die Hard is like the best Christmas movie. It's missing the point of the. It just so happens to be set
Sure.
in a
sure.
Christmas setting.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I watched the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas for the very first time in the theaters just about 2 or 3 days ago with my dad, who is probably listening today. Hey, Dad. And yeah, I think it just contains, enough elements of both. Yeah, it probably could really be construed as one or the other, or perhaps it's just its own thing. Maybe it's, maybe people are looking too deeply into it by trying to kind of shoehorn it into one category or another, because it clearly doesn't perfectly meet either one.
It doesn't. That's why it's both.
Specifically, in your words, Peter, 50-50.
Yeah, it's
you know
it's
what?
100% one and 100% the other
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it at least once, probably.
You gonna watch it this year, maybe?
It's fresher. It's fresher in your mind. By the way, Tim Burton, not the mastermind truly of the film. It's Henry Selick, I believe.
Mhm.
It was the same person who brought you all of your favorite stop motion movies.
Corpse Bride,
Coraline,
Coraline,
James and the Giant Peach. He even did Monkey Bone, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated movies of all time.
Yeah. Tim Burton did have a hand in
Oh, he's
it,
the
though,
concept.
Yeah, I heard that it was his idea, and then they basically brought it to light, essentially.
Yeah, well, it was his idea, but that's I don't have ideas and put my name at the title of the film. It's not even like The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's called Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's right. You gotta know. He's got to have his tattoo on the film somewhere.
And this man has, he's basically like the mayor of Hot Topic at this point.
Oh boy,
Wonderful.
excellent.
By the way, Hot Topic, really interesting story behind that.
Really do tell.
Oh, I was about to say we'll just leave it at that. And
I think we could leave it at that.
We
we'll
could
come back to
leave
that,
the mystery
all right?
there.
and
Yeah.
leave I mean, basically speaking, it's just your normal mom and pop, run, like literally like a mom and pop running this, store. I mean, like, what are we gonna sell? It's like, we'll appeal to the youth. And so they found the perfect market, basically. These
Yeah.
people are not into Nightmare Before Christmas, anime, or
Man.
or whatever bands are relevant today and also yesterday.
I'd say they're missing out.
You're wearing a band shirt.
I am wearing a band shirt. I'm wearing a Pink Floyd shirt. This is
I-
from their. Which album is
The
this from?
Division Bell
There
from
you go.
1994. It was like the main one that it was my favorite one from the David Gilmour era.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a favorite one from the David Gilmour era.
No, not really. I think I'm really more familiar, I guess, with the Roger Waters era.
yeah,
I'm not as, I guess, well versed in Pink Floyd as I am, as you are, Peter.
Yeah, so you need to give me the shirt right now. Let's switch shirts.
I know. I mean, we were talking about how like I'm more well versed about Beatles, whereas you're more well versed about Pink Floyd, but I don't have any Beatles shirts.
This is true.
We got to rectify
This
that.
this is
Izzy,
true.
you'll be fine. Look behind you. Just get that hammer. Defend yourself, man. Keep
Oh,
that shirt.
okay. Well, 'tis the season, as they say.
Yeah, we're kind of talking. We're talking about British bands, but really, this is an American show.
That's true.
Where we
Yeah, we
focused.
don't like the British here.
We focused during the original tenure of the show.
I
we
love
definitely
anyone
focused
who's
more
listening
on,
from Britain or who is British.
Boy.
I think you guys make the best crumpets. Like,
You know, I learned that like shockingly late that English muffins aren't just called English muffins for whatever they are. They're actually crumpets. We just call them English muffins. Like they're literally crumpet.
well, they're not very
Crumpets.
muffin-like.
They're not very muffin-like, but
They look like they were shaved from the bottom of the muffin.
they are actually
You know, the least enjoyable part of the muffin, I must say.
they're actually completely and totally
America 1, England 0.
crumpets.
All right,
I
so
know.
we're definitely we're a little lost in the jungle here.
We're just gonna
but
roast the
sometimes
British
it's fun
for-
to just trail around, you know.
Yeah, and by the way, if anyone would like to express their input or call or text in at any point in the show, you know, feel free to text us at 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861, 786-309-WVUM. And we're gonna pare back a little bit. You know, we're like Andy said, we're getting a little lost in the jungle, and we're gonna arrive to this little hut here, where I just also wanted to talk about just everything that's really changed since we left, and obviously in the world in general, a lot's changed.
Dude, it feels like it's been 10 years.
Yeah, and I think definitely, obviously the big thing that happened in the beginning of the 2020s was COVID. I think COVID kind of upended a lot of people's plans, whatever they may be, and yeah, that was a long year.
Yeah, and I mean, COVID hit just as we were out. Like, we were done.
We were done.
And I can't imagine, doing half the things, that people did online during
Yeah.
COVID.
In a way, we
Same
lucked
way.
out.
Yeah.
In a way, we lucked
We
out.
very much lucked
Oh, you
out.
kidding me?
We're
Yeah.
actually the last because
Yeah.
we were 2019, and then immediately afterwards is 2020. So
Can you imagine you come into like the tail end of COVID here in
Yeah.
UM, and then like price hike?
Oh man.
oh wow, we're already going into
Yeah, I mean, inflation is also, of course, one of the things that's really just put it lightly, it's ruined a lot of people's days in the last few, years or so. And obviously, it's affected the cost of living in most parts of the country. Really, it's affected the cost of tuition here.
You know what's crazy is that in Miami, inflation is completely different.
Yeah,
Like,
I've read.
we are getting a completely different like flavor of things going on. 'Cause
Things are worse
housing
here.
isn't shooting up
Yeah.
in every state, but here particularly, it still is. We're just like,
Man,
This is now probably the worst housing market. It's worse than LA right now. It's about equivalent to New York in terms of like the discrepancy between pay. Actually, no, the discrepancy between average income and housing prices is actually the worst here
really,
in Miami of the entire country.
you heard it
Because
here today,
wages
folks.
do reflect, generally speaking, like the cost of living, and wages are much higher in New York. You get wages that are like $15 an hour, etc. There, you don't have that here. You get like we have the same wages and the same average income as like the other southern states, pretty much, without the benefit of having lower property values all around.
Right, like the pay hasn't caught up to the cost of living here.
Absolutely not. And then, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concept of not just inflation, but greedflation.
No.
Explain.
yeah, what's up?
So I'll tell you a story that hammers in my point before I go further into it.
Mm-hmm.
There was this man from the UK, and he was saving Cadbury. He loved Cadbury cream eggs, and he was saving them every year, and he bought some every year. He decided to save one a year, and he actually documented how small they were getting relative to the price increase.
Yeah.
So you end up getting an egg that's like almost nearly the size of a quail's egg, like, pretty substantial, to something that's, the size of like a fish egg.
Yeah.
That's being hyperbolic, but still, pretty close. And more expensive pretty much pound for pound for the raw ingredients that are used in it, even accounting for global inflation.
And it's funny you're talking about this. So, lead economist, right, Paul Krugman, releases this graph. He's like, "Hey guys, look, the graph is going down, and what I want to tell you is that the war on inflation is over. We won at very little cost." It's a downtrending chart, yeah. And when you read the title, he's excluding prices of food, prices of energy, prices of shelter, and prices of used cars. So yeah, I guess if you're not like a human person, it's awesome right now, dude. Just go out there and buy whatever you want.
I
man.
mean,
As long as you don't require sustenance, really.
No,
If you
don't
filter
dare.
feed, you are golden.
What do you mean energy?
Yeah.
Turn off the lights, man.
Yeah.
It is true that the average price of movies has gone down a bit. With
Of movies?
of movies, yeah, you could get Movie Pass now.
Well, especially if you go on a Tuesday.
Yeah, if
you
you
go
go
to
to
AMC,
Tuesday too, I mean,
you get $5.
Yeah, movies
Yeah, get up nice and
Shout
early.
out to
on
AMC.
average, on average, again, on average,
We
a
did it,
little
folks.
cheaper than they were pre-pandemic.
It sounds like things are good then.
Yeah.
Based on everything
I think
else.
we're good.
Sounds like
But-
things are dandy.
It's interesting. The greedflation isn't just like, that it's shaving off incrementally the amount of things that are happening. Like, for example, keeping something that is, like, say, I know, dishwasher detergent or something, actually putting less per fluid ounce, but only by micro.
No. Don't,
Micro
listen.
amounts.
I need to fill up the entire tray when with my high efficiency dishwashing liquid that I put it for clothes. That's what I need to do.
But the point is,
That's what they tell me.
despite that happening, the price hikes continue to happen. So really, this is just, I guess, a controversial decision. Like, a lot of inflation in this regard, at least in the consumer market is concerned, is sort of a conscious decision, at least partially or, even wholly, by companies themselves who are making these, like, large scale consumer products. Obviously, if you buy in bulk, if you there's not a restaurant, there's a quote unquote grocery store here where you can buy things in it services a restaurant where you could buy things in industrial
You're talking about Jetro or
Jetro, there
yeah,
you go.
Jetro is actually amazing.
Why
I
have I
kind
never
of
heard
didn't
of
want
this?
to give that out. Listen.
give it out.
I've never heard of Jet.
Give it out if you want
Actually, we can't. Yeah, I can't say anything about the fact that it
No.
exists. I think that's all I can say. Forgot
Well,
about radio
you can
rules
say
here.
it as long as you use a different name for it. Like change a letter or two.
Jetro is great. Now, if
Jeffro.
you go to Jeffro's instead, I would. No, see, you
Jeffro's.
can't even do that.
No, it's like how in those cartoons where it's like they couldn't use any actual brands, and so instead of Doritos, it'd be like Floritos or.
No.
Hey guys, do you want to get something awesome at Busker Rabbins?
it's
Sweet treat.
Dude. Busker Rabbits.
instead of getting
amazing place.
instead of getting people wonder, oh, why do you have several gallons of milk in your refrigerator? No, that's milk. Sorry,
That's Malk. Oh, okay.
There's an episode of The Simpsons where they are showing how bad the public funding is for school lunches, where
Yeah.
they see the carton and it doesn't even say milk on it, it's just milk.
Malk. It's very good. I mean, I don't see a lot of The Simpsons. I imagine you're much more of an expert on him.
No, not really. I've only seen one episode and it was that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. I've seen a lot of episodes. I shouldn't lie on air.
Nah, man.
It's
Simpsons
okay to
is
lie on
funny.
the air, actually. Yeah.
I enjoyed Rick and Morty before the thing
Circumstances.
happened.
Stuff happens.
And now it's like, oh, great. Okay. Well,
No,
there's that.
I'm actually a huge
It's just-
advocate of separating art from artists.
I get that.
In my opinion,
I mean-
there's a lot of like
So there's nothing they can't do, basically.
No.
to a point,
Oh my God.
to a point. But even then, like there's a
So you do have a limit.
yeah.
Yeah.
The problem for me is that the humor in Rick and Morty is meta. Like it's
It's
It's the
self-aware.
kind of thing that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be self-aware. It's supposed to be about like personal opinions that the author is trying to shoehorn directly like but through the guise of a show. And
Sure.
now it's like anytime you try to watch it, it's just I don't know, it's a
I
little
mean,
different.
the new voices they got are pretty good.
That's
Sound
true. They
one
do
to
have-
one.
I'm
that's
willing
true.
to go shockingly
There
far,
are new voices.
Oh,
to
yeah?
be honest.
Really?
Yes, but only in certain circumstances.
So we're gonna explore the entire dimensions of Peter's, limitations.
Lack thereof.
I'll tell you.
Specific examples will be listed.
So I studied philosophy here. That was one of my things that I did here. One of my many hats that I wore was a philosophy major. And there is a seminal philosopher of the 20th century, Martin Heidegger, father of existentialism and continental philosophy in general, right? Or so he's pigeonholed, right? This man, he wrote a book translated in English, Being in Time, Sein und Zeit is what it was called. But Being in Time, huge seminal work, a complete reworking of the concept of being and existence from Aristotle onward, right? This is a major piece of intellectual work, one of the most seminal pieces of intellectual work of the 20th century, right? So it poses a weird situation for academics, especially them who study certain things and traditions related to that, whether it be like, social theorists, other philosophers, whoever has like, any tangential relation to existentialism or phenomenology or anything, which is a lot of academic disciplines. The man was a Nazi.
Oh God.
And not just a Nazi, he was an early supporter of the Nazi party. Like, this man is, this man's shirt was brown to the wool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he was a Nazi. He was elected the rector of the University of Freiburg by Mr. Adolf Hitler and everything. He was an enthusiastic member of the Nazi party, Now there's a lot of complex situations because one of his most famous students, Hannah Arendt, was Jewish. So 20th century history is complicated, but insofar as like art from the artist or creator from the creator is concerned, that there's really no real mentions of Nazism or ethno states or anything really having to do with that in the entirety of the dense tome that is Being in Time.
I mean, I still wouldn't go through that and pretend that like there's no bias from this guy's like insane perception of life.
Well,
just
people,
delving into like, nah, man, that's
well, people are
it's not like
complicated. I think
it's not about. So I think a lot of people get this confusion when we're talking about separating artists from their art, where it's like the difference between, I don't know, morally saying I'm not even going to approach it at all versus the very real fact that you should be cautious at the very least. I mean, depending on the artist, the whole point of art in the first place, really, one of the things, is to express your opinion. You express it in a way that's not like direct or not easy to know. There's a lot of undertones. And so people like that, they will find a way to kind of change your mind without you realizing that your mind has been changed towards something that you really just don't agree with. And that's why I don't like
It's
even things that I
subliminal
like.
in nature almost.
It's subliminal. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that happened in 2016 specifically. Like,
I don't think
people
it's
had
subliminal.
sources that they knew were
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a good source, whatever. This is my news source, this is my social media source.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the kind of environment that we really, had, to deal with, and which gave us a lot of material for the show. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not as if the political division in this country has gotten any better.
Yeah,
Dude,
and I actually wanted to talk about that. I wanted to
Yes.
talk about a couple of current events which tie into political division.
Yes.
But I did want to play a song, go on break.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
And once again, if you'd like to text or call in, that's 786-309-8861, and we will be right back.
Keep it locked. And welcome back to the Monkey House. I'm your host, Andy.
And I'm Izzy. I'm your co-host, Izzy. It is me.
We're hosts, all right? We are the gracious hosts of this wide jungle forest madness of political talk show that you have here in WVUM 90.5. Thank you for tuning in. Izzy, what were we just playing?
So we were just listening to two of some pretty good songs. First one was Cooking Up Something Good by Mac DeMarco from his second studio album, appropriately titled 2. And after that, we had It's Gonna Be a Long Night by Ween from their album, Quebec. Pretty good stuff.
Oh God, I could talk about Ween like
Nice
for
choices.
the duration.
I know you could.
For the duration of the
I
thing,
know
but
you
this is
could.
not a music program.
No, I mean, by all means, you could
No,
say...
no, it's not a music program. I
look,
kind of, I
watched
don't want
the
to say
Jungle
just,
Book.
you
There's
know,
music in there.
I wanted to say like, you know, Ween, like I would love to talk about it, but we have precious time on air and like,
Yeah.
you know, just do your own research. But at the same time, I don't like that phrase personally. So
What,
I don't.
Ween?
What,
No,
Ween or-
politically speaking. No, I love Ween. Politically speaking, the phrase do your own research or, you know, extrapolating from that.
Yeah.
Because that
It's
went
not
so
my
well.
job to educate you.
Well, for years you had, you know, tried to get me to listen to the Mollusk, and I would always kind of listen to it in passing.
their
I'd be like,
their album from 1996.
their album, probably their most famous album.
Yeah.
And
The inspiration for SpongeBob.
inspiration for SpongeBob. It's where that song "Ocean Man" comes from.
Yeah.
You know, always listened to it passing, didn't care for it at first, and I don't know why. Something about it, you know, clicked with me this year, and I listened to that album and some of their other stuff, and yeah, Ween is great.
Yes.
But all things considered, you know, we do have, you know, some things to talk about today.
What do you want to talk about?
So I think, you know, one of the things I was actually calculating, you know, going throughout this week, and
Got a
even a little bit
calculator
before
here.
that, was whether or not, like, before, you know, this special of the Monkey House started, whether or not we were going to have a new speaker or not, Speaker of the House,
Yeah.
because that, you know. For those of you who live under a rock, you know, or who just tune out the news, which, you know, no judgment there because it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a few weeks we did not have a Speaker of the House of Representatives. Previous guy, Kevin McCarthy, he was ousted in a very rare motion to vacate by, you know, spearheaded largely by some, you know, what's the nice way to put it? Extreme fringe Republicans on the right.
Well, you know, getting to extreme fringe Republicans, you know.
Yeah.
It's not that we ended up with Mike Johnson, representative from
Louisiana.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's right.
Yeah, famously, Biden administration was like, oh, you know, we got to Google that.
What-
Who's this guy?
Yeah, they did put that. It's
Yeah,
like-
he's probably the most Googled person in America, like, you know, in the past, like,
Yesterday.
3 days.
I think that's fair.
It's, what a piece of
Unfortunately,
work.
We have not found out anything. What did you find out about him?
About Mike Johnson?
Other than he's wild and crazy.
I mean, mostly just his policy positions. You know, they don't sound too, I guess, different from, you know, what the current Republican, you know, party stance is on issues like abortion or the 2020 election results. You know, it doesn't sound too different from that, but it does seem like he's dressed. He dresses it a little bit more cleanly, I guess. You know, like he's not as boorish or as bombastic as some of his colleagues. I suppose he's not quite like the Matt Gaetz or the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the party. You know,
Right.
he wears glasses, he's got his spiffy little suit, and you know he's eloquent, and he's a God-fearing Christian.
Yeah, he's not like
I think,
violently calling for action against, you know, all kinds of forms of government and this and that, you know, like Green and them are.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's I guess.
I think, in my opinion, there's a difference between your average. You know, I have no ill will against, you know, conservatives in this country. I think actually, you know, I'm more
Oh, of course.
a more, you know, to the chagrin of a lot of, you know, more politically, you know, outward, you know, things. I'm actually kind of a centrist in that regard, in that we should treat, you know, the quote unquote left should treat, you know, conservatives nicely, in a sense, you know, that we're.
You mean people should be nice
yeah,
to each
people
other?
should be nice for each other, and vice
Oh my
versa.
God, man.
Vice versa.
That's not a centrist position at all.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
I don't know, you
But
sound like a
this,
lefty.
this man-
That's a little.
This man is where I have
mean
to
talking nice.
is where I have to buck this trend.
Oh, okay.
This is unforgivable.
So what don't you like about Mike Johnson?
Oh Jesus! All right, well let me. We'll be here all day. First of all, he believes that man-made climate change is a hoax.
Uh-huh. Gotta have that in there.
Yes. he believes that he tried to repeal same-sex marriage. And he is of the belief that he also supported, gay conversion therapy.
I see.
He is of the belief that the quote-unquote allowance of LGBTQ existence in America is a slippery slope to pedophilia. He does not believe in the theory of evolution. And not only that, he believes that the teaching of evolution in schools is a link, or has exacerbated the rise in school shootings. So, and that's only the tip of the iceberg.
So you've got all of the necessary ingredients in the Republican formula there, basically.
Yeah, I mean, this is just to a cartoonish degree. Your average Republican isn't a, despite what people in the politically charged left would say, the average Republican is not a young Earth creationist.
Yeah, and yet prior to this, he was pretty relatively unknown. So he kind of just came out of the shadows because they had gone through so many other people trying to fill this seat. They couldn't come to a consensus, and finally, I guess they found somebody relatively milquetoast to kind of just band behind.
Those are some hardcore opinions right there. I never thought I would say this sentence, but like, why didn't they just use Matt Gaetz? Like that's how far I'm willing to go
compared to this guy.
Compared to this guy, what a piece of work.
I mean, what happened that we have like no choice? Like, what are these choices? This is ridiculous. Where's this guy hiding the whole time, mind you? Like how is this even an option to begin with? And how is Gaetz still employed?
Yeah, I mean,
he got caught in a pedophilia thing, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he was investigated for that, but I'm not sure if the charges were dropped. I think that was the last thing that I had heard about that. But notwithstanding all of that, he's a firebrand. He's definitely he's not afraid to basically whip up a storm in the House, and really things are we're still not exactly out of the out of the dark on all of the speakership drama, because the rule that allows for one person to trigger a motion to vacate still exists. So really, if anyone doesn't like, Mike Johnson for whatever reason, they could just start this whole drama all over again. And we have a government shutdown, coming by the end of November, unless, they get their act together, which it doesn't seem like.
To a Christmas near you.
Christmas near you. Thanksgiving surprise.
So, yeah, what's interesting about Mike Johnson for me is that he actually bucks some trends that we have gripes about, that we usually think like these are issues that are like inherent to certain immutable facts of demographics. Like, for example, like, why are all these like hardcore Republican creationists, like these hardcore conservatives, why are they like that? Oh, because they're old, oh, because XYZ. This man is a relatively young buck. He just turned 51.
Yeah.
Well, like, and he's solidly Gen X, which is not a.
Is that what we're considering young these days in politics?
I mean, considering that we're being
about us, bro.
We're being run by a nursing home essentially. I mean, that some politicians would rather die in office than give up the reins. I mean, I'm looking.
We had Dianne Feinstein,
91.
91.
Mitch McConnell, obviously has been
Mitch
having
McConnell,
a few
like glitched out.
has been having a few issues under the hood.
That was
So, but the point is, like, I think this guy bucks the trend of like, oh, this is what's wrong with our politicians. They're too old,
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Biden, the oldest president. Trump, prior to that, oldest president as well. That's a thing that I don't think we like realize, that Trump is pretty much just as old as Biden.
Yeah,
only by a few years.
3 years younger.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like as if he was a spring chicken either. Like,
yeah.
That's not a good justification for, why Joe Biden like may or may not be fit to run for office, further. Like, because if you support Donald Trump for office, then you're falling into the same trap as a geriatric individual
Yeah.
running for somebody who should be enjoying the golden years of their life instead of that being arguably the most powerful person on
Yeah.
earth.
And Trump, he definitely had his thumb on the scale throughout this whole speaker race, because one of the contenders in this whole process was a congressman called Tom Emmer. I think he might be the majority whip. Don't take my word on that. I believe he is the majority whip of the Republican conference, and he had been nominated at one point. And then like very shortly after, Trump posted on his social media page, that he's a globalist rhino, don't trust him, I don't know this guy, but he's no friend of mine, and then hours after that it was all over. He dropped out and they were back to square one.
So Trump still holds a lot of power.
Oh, very
in
much
the
so.
minds and,
Very much so. And that continues to be just kind of a persistent undercurrent, I think, in American politics. I think a lot of people after Joe Biden won in 2020 were just kind of hoping that he would just, slip away quietly. But he is still very much a present force in
I mean, I was
in
definitely
political
open. I was hoping we just, I don't know, just go away. Like, I didn't think that that would happen.
Yeah.
I didn't really believe it, but I tried to kind of. I think we all were so engrossed in our own lives. Like, so many things happened, including COVID and everything directly after that.
Yeah.
Like, paying attention to stuff. Trump was the last thing on my mind,
Mhm.
And then now we're here, 200,000 indictments later or whatever, and it's like, okay, why
God.
we're still on it.
I mean, these are unprecedented times. I mean, I still hold that, we had our show during some very chaotic periods ourselves. But it almost feels like it's only gotten worse since then.
At least, as a country, we're all still involved. I feel like everybody is involved. And,
Yeah.
and that's a really good thing, because there was not that much involvement just before, Trump stepped in for a little bit. And then obviously, I don't know, I didn't like the fact that people were so lackadaisical about, oh, should I vote or not? Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't, my vote doesn't matter. Come on, man.
That is
like,
a silver lining. Like in the past 2 elections, I'm including the midterms in this as well, we have had record turnout rates in throughout the country.
Yes.
Basically, like a lot of people are concerned about everything that's going on, and they're participating. They are getting involved, and I think that's going to be perhaps the one of the best things to come out of all of this. But at the same time, it's also one thing that I think is kind of fueling, a lot of this this populist ire that we're seeing on the Republican right, especially towards things like election results, voting machines, all this stuff,
Yeah.
No, it's become like in and of itself access to voting for, I believe, like it's always been an issue, but like in terms of a mainstream like blockbuster issue,
Yeah.
like I think this is the first time voting access has been
Yeah.
a huge contentious issue. I mean, obviously
Recently, in
there's a
recent
history
times,
of
obviously.
voting access and everything, but I'm talking about like things that are addressed frequently on the nightly news and everything.
Yeah.
And it's not like this hasn't had consequences even for, media outlets. I mean, we do know that was it Dominion voting who sued Fox News and won on a defamation?
Yeah,
And
well, technically, like the suit was dropped, but
okay.
Fox
settled. They settled.
They yeah, right. They settled,
They
and then
settled.
like suspiciously after that, Tucker Carlson got dropped. So
Yeah, I wonder why. It's
No.
almost like
Yeah, no. Well, you have to pay up a certain amount of money, and even then, you realize that one person is not worth the investment.
I mean,
Yeah.
if people even
It was in the
see these
neighborhood of,
voting
like-
machines.
It was
like,
in the neighborhood of like a lot, like 700 million.
he was the
so,
money
like-
machine of Fox at that time.
Yes, but that's just a hefty amount of money to have to pay, and also have the threat of having to pay
Yeah.
more for a situation in which someone perpetuates that. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say it was misinformation.
it is misinformation.
Okay, well,
That's
yeah.
all it is.
That's
Listen,
another thing that we kind of have to. Obviously, the idea of things being factual has been challenged.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
The idea of truth, and this is very philosophical. I had no idea that we would get to this point where everybody's so meta that we have to debate the concept of reality. in a lot of ways.
It's
Yeah.
just because the influence of Fox News specifically has been so great in creating sensationalist pieces that take everyone's like attention, and they say things that just rile you up, but it's not from a point of being genuine. It was always for them, who, mind you, Fox is not a legitimate news source. They're not a news station. They're an entertainment company.
No, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
We're getting really spicy on the
So
monkey house right now.
That means it makes sense why they're doing what they do, right? Because they get a lot of money off of it. They're like, dude, NRA, let's go, dude. You want to give me money? Psh, let's sell guns, right?
Yeah.
They're basically just marketing,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. Is they stepped into marketing and profiting off of downplaying the importance of things like voting. And they went so far as to say, hey, by the way, those machines that literally it's a printer that you push a touchscreen and it puts on paper what you voted. Oh, yeah, actually, these are all rigged and whatever. And they all have, like, wireless access. Dude, the machines were built, like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I worked at an election center
Right.
just, like, a couple years ago. I think it was
Yeah,
20
you have, like,
or-
some personal insight in all this.
Yes, so for Miami-Dade County, right? It's not like they're decrepit or anything. It's that these are like secure, bare bones. Like the machine does what you need it to do. They don't have the capability to be hacked. I don't even know how to. It's the most ridiculous thing. You know what a hack is?
That's actually the most. Wait, what is a hack? What?
Yeah.
A hack is when you use a really cool entertainment source that's the only one that's tuned in, in the old folks' home, and nobody can change the channel because they didn't set it.
Yeah.
And then it tells them to jump on a bus and then go vote for somebody. And then buses show up by the busload, voting for people they don't even know why or what. They were just told do it. Oh, by the way, if you do it, you get some milk when you get back.
I should also note for the concept of that, we've become so divided that just speaking of things in such a way has also been seen as a tacit endorsement of quote unquote the other side. You know, that us saying this about Fox News does not necessarily mean that we work for MSNBC.
Yeah. Like I feel like
I'm not I don't like
we don't
CNN
work for
either.
CNN.
I'm just like, Jesus,
like purity
man.
tests have really become like such a huge
Absolutely.
part of politics, where nuance is dead apparently.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously we know that nuance is dead the minute Donald Trump opened his mouth.
Yeah.
This is a sordid state of affairs indeed.
Yeah, and you almost kind of get this feeling, at least me personally, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I want to see if you guys agree. You almost get this feeling that we're kind of creeping towards something kind of sort of unsavory, because obviously, as we all know, Trump has been indicted on multiple charges. There is a reasonable chance that he could be convicted on some of those charges. And right now, he has a 50-50 chance of being reelected president.
Exactly. Well, this is a trend.
That's wild.
This isn't really that wild, all right? I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This is wild for us because we're supposed to be better than this. But this is not better than what happens in a lot of South American countries.
Yeah.
Oh, like
South
other
Asian
governments.
countries where people who have been, accused of murder and are, on trial for that are winning elections
Yeah.
for major
Right.
parties. You got, people.
That's not supposed to be us, though.
You have people, who in Brazil or Uruguay or one of them, it was that one of the people who was part of the major candidates was running from jail.
Yeah, but it's not even just that, because I'm just thinking about all of the possible outcomes that could come from that. Let's say he's convicted and he wins. Obviously, it's not really written anywhere in the Constitution what you can do with a person in that position. What happens?
There's no rule that says a
Yeah.
dog can't be president.
And let's say he loses. Obviously, we saw what happened on January 6th. What's going to happen if he loses this time around? What's
Right.
going to be the outcome of that for the country? It's concerning.
I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think the outcome of the election, no matter what's going to happen, I think we're past the point where we can gracefully take elections. I think now it's just like Trump has opened the Pandora's box
Yeah.
of the minute he, went on that press conference and said, hey, we won, and all the other things they're illegitimate. That's when I knew, okay, I think that was the most egregious thing he ever did in his presidency.
Yeah.
And I know that's like a statement, but like that's in my personal opinion, because that isn't a policy, measure. That isn't anything regarding to a conservative rather than liberal or anything. That is an attack against the core foundations of democracy,
100%.
of the idea of having a functioning state in which power can be handed peacefully between parties.
Yeah. No, and the fact that Mike Pence was like an American hero for that split second where he was like, how about I
An
don't?
American hero.
Can I not, bro?
Yeah.
I don't.
Like,
I don't.
why?
He's
I
running
don't
too.
like that guy
Yeah,
at
of course
all,
he's running.
man. But he, that was like the one thing he did right.
I think despite whatever policy differences I have with Mike Pence, the fact that he enjoys Garfield is already a negative in my book.
Peter, who's your favorite Republican candidate right now?
Who's running?
Okay, so you got obviously you got Trump, Pence, you got Nikki Haley, you got Vivek Ramaswamy.
Definitely not Vivek Ramaswamy.
Tell us what do you not like about Vivek? He's a young buck as well. He's younger than any of the bucks we've mentioned today.
He's a super young buck, but again, this is a man who goes on a major debate, the entirety of America, and he says climate change is a hoax. I think climate change denial should be a non-negotiable at this point. Just like evolution denial should have already been a non-negotiable by this point. This is, and I guess to an extent also the acceptance of same-sex marriage, because it's not like it was universally accepted by Democrats even, at its genesis. I mean, obviously there's the famous bit where that Obama caught flack for when he was like, my position has evolved.
Yeah.
On that's not a huge endorsement of same-sex marriage, really.
Dude, yeah, so that's a great point to bring up, right? It's back to the fact that we try to focus, at least here in the Muggy House and between ourselves, on issues at hand, how we feel about things like gay marriage should be legal and all that, like obviously, right? Things like this. And neither party has ever, the party is not the moral stance.
Yeah.
And the parties have to win. So they're going to try to do what the average American is going to vote for. So, are we really still in a place where most Americans are going to be okay with someone who thinks climate change is a joke, or maybe, same-sex marriage is weird? Is that the kind of place we're still at? Because that is depressing. We're still that?
It is depressing.
Come
and I think
on.
there are elements of that in the country for sure, that who will probably overlook some of these big picture issues, for whatever short-term benefit they're promised. I think just like you said, the party, is, the party mechanism is not really the driving, force for, at least for us, for pursuing any sort of policy position. Each party has to do the work to win over their constituents, and
That's right.
every constituent will have their opinion based on their ideological background, how they were raised, and everything. And it's the parties that have to do the work. And to an extent, the two-party system has almost been a negative, in some sense. I think
it's almost as if this was not intended by the founding fathers trademark.
Yeah. Well, that's just your opinion. I think the founding
the
fathers
founding
intended this completely.
the founding fathers, if you want to get we're also a huge video game.
We do like video
we
games.
do enjoy video games, and I'm gonna one of my favorite games is BioShock Infinite.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my
And
God.
in that
Yes.
game, the whole plot is that there was a sect of Americans who treated the founding fathers like a actual religious extension of Christ himself. So
Yeah.
these are hardcore fundamentalist Christians who also worship the founding fathers. And so
Yeah, dude.
they thought that the quote unquote Sodom below, which was America, that was not, so they created their own floating city
Oh, that's what
that was
Yes.
literally above.
Are these
all other-
spoilers, by the way? I've never finished.
No, this is the
Yeah, you
this
find
is
this
the
out in the
premise. This
first-
is the premise of the game. I mean, there's
Okay.
there's all sorts of things, but
I mean, I don't know if I'll ever finish it, but
you should. It's really good.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We'll finish it for
In my
you right
opinion,
now.
we'll finish it
On
right
air.
now. We're gonna
In my
play
opinion, it's
BioShock
good.
Infinite on the air right now.
Yeah.
Pull out your PS3.
That's right. And we should probably play other stuff like, I don't know, things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Music,
right.
maybe?
You know what? We're going to go on another music break, guys. I know you guys would probably like some tunes right now. But as always, if you'd like to call or text in about anything that we've discussed today, please do so at 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861. This next thing that we're going to play is to basically just set the mood for what we're going to discuss next. So stay tuned and keep it locked.
We're being haunted by the ghosts of the Sopranos television series.
Oh, no. How's the Sopranos going?
The gabagools.
Let me get a gabagoo.
Remember, always check your kids' trick-or-treat bag for needles when people give them loose slices of Italian cold cuts.
That's right. That's right. And
by the way, for those who don't know, gabagool is just the New Jersey Italian slang for capicola.
Really?
Yeah, so continue.
No, yeah, I was going to say, welcome back to the Monkey House, everyone. I'm your host, Izzy.
And I'm your host, Andy.
And, of course, joining us today, we have Peter Melero.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And the last two songs that we're just playing just now were just a pair of Halloween classics. We had The Great Pumpkin Waltz by Vince Guaraldi from the It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown special. I'm sure some of you may have seen it, in the past few days. Might be streaming right now. But I don't know. Something about Charlie Brown music, always perfect for this time of year.
Back in my day, we had to watch it on, what was it? Which network aired it?
ABC?
ABC, yeah. Back in the day, we had to watch it
12,
on ABC. I'm not going to be
4.
out here watching it on Disney+. That's unacceptable.
There you
You
go.
see it when it comes out, not whenever you want.
And we also had This Is Halloween by the citizens of Halloween Town from Disney's The Nightmare Before Christmas, which, as we discussed earlier in the show, timeless classic. Very great. And, yeah, I mean, Peter, got any
Yes.
plans this Halloween?
I do.
Ah, great.
Gonna wear a costume or anything?
I have 3 costumes.
You have 3 costumes.
I have 3 costumes.
Oh, my God.
So I have I'm going to the Hocus Pocus Music Festival.
Oh, very good.
That's happening this weekend, all
Very nice.
weekend.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And also, whatever assorted, I'll just patronize whatever assorted Halloween parties are happening in Miami, especially Halloween Day. I do think that I love Halloween, so obviously I'm going to stretch it out as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I do have 3 tonight. I'm going to be Miami Vice guy. I'm just gonna wear, like a white suit with Phil Collins sneakers and like a t-shirt, like a pink t-shirt
Yeah.
underneath the classic Miami. Then I'm gonna be a disco alien kind of thing. Like it's very fabulous. It's a loose concept. Basically, I have this like glittery disco ball kind of poncho almost.
Nice.
That I'm gonna wear black and everything, and you can't hear it on air, but my nails are painted silver.
Very
now.
good.
Like very reflective.
I mean, where'd you get your costumes
silver.
from? Spirit Halloween?
No, I got them from.
You know where the Spirit Halloween is this year?
Where is
There's
it?
always one that springs. It's in Sunset Place.
Oh, of course it is the most
Sunset
haunted,
Place of all
abandoned,
places.
the most haunted, abandoned area in all of South Miami.
Oh, that's right.
And also, I'm gonna be a cowboy too.
Very good. I mean, it is a graveyard for any business that dares to step foot in Sunset. I mean, hey.
Dude, they have it up. Yeah, I'm not even going to waste time thinking about that place. It was so much fun back in the day. and,
Abandon all
that's
hope,
about
ye
it.
who enter here.
But yeah, I still go to the AMC there.
It's
pretty chill.
it's being anchored by an AMC.
Dude, how funny is it that AMC being anchored by like the will of God is the only thing anchoring Sunset Place into existence?
That and Barnes & Noble. And I think they also have an LA Fitness there. So it's like you got all the essentials. You got
That's
literature,
true, but-
you got the gym, and you got your movies.
Yeah, but those are only surrounding the interior, which is a black hole right now.
yeah, basically.
Commerce. There's nothing open. Probably, I'm not an expert on what's
Well,
happening.
it's like
at
the
Sunset
moons
Place,
around
so-
Venus. Venus has moons, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't really set foot in Venus, but
yeah. Just
What
explore
is
the moons, maybe.
Just
Yeah,
explore
that'd
the
be-
Venus has what, 2 moons, right?
I don't know.
Mercury has 2 moons.
Probably.
Then they're
You
really
could
not-
tell me Venus has 10 moons, and I'd believe you.
No, it doesn't. Like I think Jupiter has a lot of moons. Jupiter has like over like a dozen moons.
That I know. I know it has or I thought it was Saturn that has the most.
Saturn
moons.
also has the most moons, but Jupiter also has like a ton of moons.
Yeah.
One of those moons is a potential for extraterrestrial life because it has water in it.
Oh, nice.
A lot of water. I believe
That's pretty spooky. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know. What do you think about? Is that spooky? Do you find aliens spooky? Andy?
I
find aliens spooky.
I want it to be.
You want it to be spooky.
I don't though.
I thought the movie Alien was pretty spooky, despite it
cool.
not being explicitly a horror film. You know, it had its moments of suspense and even had a couple of jump scares here and there. It was like,
I don't know. For me, Prometheus was like, that was like pretty like chilly.
You don't like the
'Cause-
handsome Squidward people?
yeah, I don't think he likes the handsome Squidward.
Nah.
Yeah, those handsome guys.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, the xenomorphs, which is the name of the aliens, like those black guys who are like covered in like, they look like their skin is like black wet leather.
yeah,
Yeah.
their tongue,
It's-
it has a little mouth on it.
And that's actually based on a real thing. More
Yeah, it
aliens
just
have
kind of
that.
looks like they're wearing a huge gimp suit or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like those things, purposely designed by H.R. Geiger himself to look as creepy as possible.
Are you telling me it's amore?
Yeah. Also, the fact
Hey.
that they're like perpetually
good.
covered in like amniotic fluid, like that's pretty scary too. Even in their adult forms.
Yeah.
Pretty scary. I think it's scary also because I believe it was the great Stephen Hawking who said like, yeah, aliens are pretty scary. I am not looking forward to that because if aliens have the technology to come here, they would 1,000% treat us like
Oh yeah.
like Westerners treated the Native
Yeah.
Americans.
Yeah.
No, worse. I think we'd be treated like cattle.
Yeah, I
We'd
think
be like,
I
"Oh,
think
that
Stephen
looks like
Hawking might have got out on the wrong time at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah, he really he had a shockingly good run for everything. Well, what an inspiration. But no,
Yeah.
I famously hate E.T. That thing is scary.
it. Yeah.
Anyways, I also wanted to do a little segment today. So one cool idea that is kind of inspired by some other podcasts I've seen, around the block, is basically we want to answer some questions that I saw from Reddit. We're gonna call this segment like what? Advice from the jungle? Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Jungle.
Yeah, throw me a vine.
Throw
How
me-
about that?
There-
Hey,
yeah, that's gotta
I
be
kind of
fair.
like that.
Be
I kinda like
careful. Be careful where you're throwing around the term jungle.
that. Yeah, I guess so.
Yes,
First
sure.
question, and this is from Nostalgia Freak 420.
Oh, of course.
What's
classic, classic user.
What's a song/album that you only listen to on Halloween?
Mariah Carey's Christmas song.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's about it. Yeah. I don't have like a specific like holiday themed playlist. Like I just listen to music all the time, constantly.
Sure. What about like the Charlie Brown Christmas album?
I mean, yeah, the Charlie Brown Christmas album. Like, yeah, Christmas Time Is Here. I think that's definitely one of the better Christmas songs.
Yeah, Vince Guaraldi trio in general.
I also famously don't like Christmas music that much. So
Except for the Vince Guaraldi trio.
and the Grinch, who I have a deep spiritual connection with.
You have a deep spiritual connection with it, but you hate it?
Because I do.
Because
The Grinch also doesn't like Christmas music that much.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You are in tuned.
Yeah.
So you have like a little bit of that Ebenezer Scrooge.
No,
side,
not
but
that much. I'm not like a.
You're not miserly.
Yeah, I'm not miserly. I'm not. I'm not out here like trying to make my employees work on Christmas.
By the way, if anyone would like to participate in this, call or text us at 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861. And we also had somebody text us, Mr. E-Man. E-Man, of course, a wonderful WVUMer. He texted in to ask, have you ever watched Over the Garden Wall?
I have actually. A bit overrated in my opinion. Aesthetically beautiful.
Snap. Oh, man.
Aesthetically
Can't do that
beautiful,
to
but
E-Man.
You can't
I-
do that to him.
Even.
No, first I'm gonna
Didn't he
preface
dress
this by saying
as Fleck once
he
or
did,
whatever his name was?
actually. Yeah, Fleck. I
I'm
do
so
like.
sorry, E-Man.
I
I'm
will
so
say that I
sorry.
like Over the Garden Wall. It deserved to be an actual show, though. I know some people were like, "Oh, it was good as a mini series," but like, it just it didn't hit with me.
didn't?
Like aesthetically speaking, it was nice and everything, and it was fine. But I prefer like different, sort of more. Yeah, I know he's probably
Yeah, like The Sopranos.
yeah, like The Sopranos, my favorite cartoon television series.
Of course. Yeah.
I was always a fan of you know. In
Oh,
terms
his name is Wirt. Thank you, E-Man.
Yes.
He also said your opinion is incorrect. So.
Okay, well, you know, again, not saying that I do not like it. I do like Over the Garden Wall.
Are you just saying that?
I
think you're just saying that.
I want to be on air saying that, but like, I prefer, as far as like 2010s cartoons are concerned, like, you know, critically acclaimed stuff. I've always been an Adventure Time man.
Yeah. Adventure Time's pretty good.
Adventure Time is,
I think we can all probably agree on that.
possibly one of the greatest shows of all
Yeah.
time.
I've
you
been
watched
enjoying
Fiona
it
and Cake?
more. Yeah,
Andy?
Fiona and Cake is my Adventure Time.
I think,
because it's
well, it
catered to
actually
adults,
is
and I'm
Adventure
like,
Time.
Oh, I love this now.
It's
No,
not just your Adventure Time. It's like actual. Like,
No, but, it's mine. All right. It's my like official universe of enjoying it.
What I like about Adventure Time so much is that it is the only property that I've ever seen that seamlessly blends equal amounts of high fantasy, like Tolkien-esque kind of fantasy, you know, your dragons, your dungeons, etc., and also sci-fi.
Also, by the way, Peter, another question directed towards you,
Yeah.
and also me. So backtracking a bit, what's your favorite Ween song?
That's asking me about my favorite child.
We almost need a
Like,
music break for you to think about this.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think
Can't you guess?
I can't. There's a lot of good stuff from the Mollusk.
It's
honestly,
probably
you know?
from the mall. I think Mutilated Lips is probably one of my favorites.
You know, I don't know. I always get a kick out of the Blarney stuff.
No, that's not my favorite one.
I've played it so many times in the car.
oh yeah, no, you've tortured me with that.
Yeah,
what a
I guess.
Yeah, what about Dancing in the Show tonight? That's a great one.
That's that's
I'm
the,
a living
Yeah,
stand on my hero
let's
cry.
see. Mutilated Lips, Pushing Little Daisies, which was actually
That song I played earlier, I also like.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long night.
It's
from
gonna
Quebec.
be a
Great
Motorhead
song.
homage. Basically, like, you know, I could talk more in terms of albums. Like, obviously, the Mollusk favorite.
Okay.
Quebec, their most underrated and darkest album. That one's good. That one has a sort of a. It has happy colored marbles and like and kind of a deep cut like Chocolate Town and all that. Like, very cool. Music. Also 12 Golden Country Greats, where they had a what's that one song, I can't say this one on air, but I can say one, Japanese Cowboys. Yeah, Ween is also very explicitly blue. Actually, the 12 Golden Country Greats, that album is not called that because there are 12 songs of the album. It's a full country album. It's the only one they ever did that was single genre.
That question was from Jack, by the way. Another
awesome.
alumni, former
Jack.
WVUMer. Jack.
What?
Great to have you here, man.
Yo.
Nice.
Thanks for tuning in.
So
What's
we-
up?
He also wanted to know what you think about Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, never watched it. I know I should.
Well, okay, neither have I. Andy?
And that sucks because I like David Lynch a lot.
Okay.
Like, Blue Velvet is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I should have done this, but
Twin Peaks is if you want to walk away from a show feeling like what did I just watch? That's the one.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically the experience. Somebody was showing it to me, and what's funny is that they were really excited about that. Like, dude, you gotta watch this. Let's watch it. Okay, let me put it on, and I've just confused, like, existentially,
Yeah.
like literally, like,
Would you recommend it though?
nah.
again, all these things, I think everybody has things that just slip through the cracks with them. Like, things that, oh yeah, you'd enjoy it, but like, with what time would you have to consume this media?
Yeah, we're a bunch of busy, boring working class heroes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Working class heroes, something to be.
9 to 5, man.
yeah, living that 9 to 5 salaried life.
I mean, Jack says that you would probably love Twin Peaks. If you
I know
love
I would
Blue
love
Velvet.
I
yeah.
would love. I mean, yeah. Again.
Oh yeah, no, I think.
Yeah, Blue Velvet, one of my favorite movies of all
Yeah.
time.
And what do
I
you think
would enjoy
about the?
watching it with
What do you
you.
think about the
Yeah.
pod? What do you think about the pod?
The pod. I mean, the Ween album. Yeah, it's so the famous thing about that album, and we could continue on after this. But, so they made that album, and they were like, so this album was made. It was their. It was the one before they made their major label debut. So I don't know how a major label listened to this album, The Pod, and was like, you know what, gonna sign them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was The Pod. I believe it came out in 1991. They claim in Ween lore, they claim that it was
Ween
made
lore.
under the influence of huffing Scotch Guard. Like that was
What?
the whole thing. Yes.
Scotch Guard.
Yeah,
Really?
Scotch Guard. They perpetuated the idea that like this was our Scotch Guard album,
I see.
which is we got the ideas from it by huffing Scotch Guard, and even in some like long gone promotional material, you see them like with gas mask and everything.
Just say no, kids.
Much later, they were like, yeah, of course we didn't do that. What, are you guys stupid? Like you thought that we would do that
Okay.
and have brain cells left?
On to the next Reddit question. So
Yeah.
from Jack the Ripper, in the spirit of Halloween, what's a book, TV show, or a movie that's genuinely scared you?
I should know this. I mean, E.T. is definitely one of them.
I think for me, it
E.T.?
was The Conjuring.
E.T.
Oh, E.T.
The worst movie monster of all time. I watched E.T. when I was 5.
But it scared you?
It scared me
Yes.
tremendously. I've had nightmares about E.T. to this day.
Really? Oh my god.
Like 25
I
years
didn't
later.
know that there was some, post-traumatic element to this.
Yes, I watched E.T. the whole way through when I was 5, and it was terrifying. E.T. is disgusting. He looks like an orangutan covered in scar tissue. He has the voice of a 5-pack a day smoker.
Wow.
His chest and finger glows red. Would you trust any animal, any person whose chest glows red?
No,
Exactly.
Okay. I guess not. I mean, I'd be suspicious,
Also, he's very suspicious. Apparently, his occupation is a botanist. That's why he was in.
Are you going to apologize to E.T. fans?
No. E.T. is scary as hell. I went to Universal Studios and I had to ride that E.T. ride, and I was always scared in the line to the ride because it was like deeply immersive
Yeah.
into the beginning of E.T. And in fact, not only was there E.T., but there was actually there was more E.T. characters.
So you don't have to wait to get into a haunted house there. You just get in line for that ride,
I was
and
at
you're
a-
already in one.
I was at a haunted house recently. I was at a haunted house. It was in the Dolphin Mall.
The scariest of
Is
all
the
places.
scariest place. It was it's where TGI Fridays used to be. TGI Fridays.
Excuse me, it's just Fridays?
Just Fridays. Okay, whatever. TGI Fridays.
Just Fridays. Get it right, man.
So it used to be
Can't
a TGI
spread
Fridays.
misinformation on the air, man.
Now currently it's a haunted house. But I couldn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. The place still smelled like a Fridays. The place still smelled like onion rings.
This is the ghost of the Fridays.
There's supposed to be a spooky hospital going on, people jumping around at you. There's like syringes everywhere and like nurses that are like deranged, and all I could do is smell onion rings.
Oh, beautiful. What about you, Andy? Anything that scared you?
Flanagan's.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Movies.
How was it? That's
Fla-
bold words, because honestly I would really like to go to Flanagan's right now.
We'll talk about that
I would
afterwards.
invite, but the Conjuring. The Conjuring was actually pretty freaky. I don't know if it was like 1 or 2, but like
Yeah.
it's really the only one, the only like scary movie I've seen that was just, it was just unnerving. It's like, because they play a lot on like ritualistic tones,
Yeah.
and if anything scares me, it's a cult. Like,
Yeah.
imagine you're conscious out of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, and then you find out you're also in the center of a cult, and you're not part of it.
Yeah.
That's scary.
You don't like The Wicker Man? Both the original and the Nicolas Cage version where they torture him with bees.
I like the Burn the Witch music video.
Oh, that's actually a really good. This is Radiohead. We're veering a bit off topic here, but like,
We can't go too off topic.
we can't go too off topic. But like, yeah, Burn the Witch.
We can
was
go
the,
hot topic.
It
though.
was the first. We can go hot topic. It is Halloween,
Oh God.
so we're gonna go a little hot topic.
By the way, text in anything, any answers you might have to these questions. you
Yeah,
know?
that's 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861. And just jumping ahead to the next question here. So, from the user false_.7523, what Halloween candy have you not seen in ages and miss dearly? Peter?
That's you have no idea how much. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't really imbibe a lot of other psychedelics, etc. Like that's just not what I'm about personally. I have a massive sugar addiction. I have the sweetest tooth possible.
Yeah. Welcome to being an American, man.
Yeah, no, I am very hard addicted to sugar.
Oh yeah.
I have to stop myself. I used to have a very bad soda habit. I still enjoy drinking a lot of lemonade. I can eat an entire gallon of ice cream in one sitting, like all these things. So as you can understand, like again, Halloween, perfect holiday for someone like me because I can eat massive quantities of sugar without any shame. It's socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Well, Peter, you're going to be happy to know that I have a little bit of a surprise for you today.
Okay,
Look,
awesome.
I know how much you love candy corn. I know how much you love those
the mellow cream pumpkins.
mellow cream pumpkins.
Yes.
So I brought Bean Boozled instead.
Oh my God.
No, man, not the flavored beans that taste like.
So Bean
Okay,
Boozled,
guys,
for those
so-
of you who don't know, Bean Boozled is a...
This is another Monkey House tradition, by the way. And this time I have a different box here. It comes with a wheel. So basically it's like you spin it and then you have to pick out the flavor. And the flavor could either be, incredibly delicious or horribly atrocious.
Yeah, let's get some of the list here. Let's just
read through the list for us, Andy. Tell us what we got.
Yeah, okay, so is there anything good here? Because, man, I don't see it yet. Oh, yeah, okay, you got berry blue. All right, you got buttered popcorn. You've got liver and onions. Wonderful. Old bandage. I can't wait to try that. Stinky socks. That's a flavor now? That's a flavor?
I guess so.
Okay. Dirty dishwater.
So yeah, some of these flavors are new.
Why?
We haven't tried some of these flavors
These
before.
are incredibly accurate, by the way.
Why
I should note that so Bean Boozled is just a rebranding of a prior property.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they used to be called. They used to be flavors included in Harry Potter promotional material called Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans, which was a thing in the thing. And famously, Dumbledore, one of his favorite flavors is earwax.
Really?
So no, he like, and it's like Harry's just like, oh, what flavor did you get? And he's like, earwax, and not bat a single eye. So I mean, the man was like 110 years old by this point. So maybe that's just how. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, not candy that I miss, but candy. So yeah, I'm a bit of a candy historian as well. I will say that there's candy I don't miss. Like Necco wafers being among them. They're just essentially pieces of drywall wafer dusted with sugar.
Do you miss Bean Boozled?
No, not at all.
Man.
I don't miss it because I am fascinated by it and I'm impressed because these flavors are so accurate.
All right, let's see how we're going to do it. Do you want to do it like one by one or should we do it like eat it all as a group? What do you guys think?
Eat it as a group, death pact.
Eat it as a okay.
Okay.
All right. So, but how are we going to choose what flavors we're going to get here?
I
Should we
think
just
you just gotta
blindly?
close your eyes
No, you
and
spin.
go
We
for
got it.
it.
We have to all try the same flavor though.
Well, that's not gonna work because you can't actually tell.
Oh, yeah.
which one's
Okay.
which.
How do you do this then?
Okay, so I guess let's just close our eyes and kind of feel around in there and grab whichever and see what we got
Izzy, I
here.
cannot believe you've done.
By the way,
Oh, this is blue. Blue.
Man, you're
But-
lucky. Blue means it's either toothpaste or
Toothpaste isn't
Blue.
that bad, yeah.
berry blue.
By the way, to prove this is what they sound like. ASMR.
Yeah, put it closer to the mic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what
wait,
you're
wait,
hearing
wait.
here.
Into
This,
the monkey house.
Oh, no,
ASMR
no, no.
section.
No,
this might be.
I know what that one is.
This can be pomegranate or
Okay.
old bandage. Wonderful.
The only flavor I absolutely refuse to eat is the vomit flavor because it is so accurate to
Which one is that?
Well, that could be
Let me
pomegranate.
see.
But
I think
it
you
also
have like the
could be old
pomegranate or old bandage one.
bandage.
Oh, okay. That's a new flavor.
Yeah. All right. All
right, guys.
Close.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Candies.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Oh, I got
Nice.
dirty socks.
Nice. I got pomegranate.
I mean, old bandage. Oh, that. How did they do this?
I got toothpaste.
That's
I got
Oh, God.
toothpaste. But
So-
honestly, it's not that bad because I don't
I'm-
know. Toothpaste isn't a
Dude,
bad
this doesn't
tasting.
taste safe.
I got lucky.
What'd you
I got
get?
pomegranate.
Great.
It's amazing.
Wonderful. So happy for you.
You want to do it again?
Yeah,
No.
sure. No, let's do it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Once more.
You guys really are not selling this. Those aren't very good reactions for people who just ate.
Okay, fine.
toothpaste
Yeah,
and
let's
old-
do it. Let's get into it then. All right. God, I'll do that.
All right.
Andy is suffering.
This could be actually.
Oh no, this is the bad one.
I got blue
This
time.
is the bad one.
This so
You
what
got-
I have
yeah, you
right
gotta-
now. By the way, this is the only one that I think. The one I'm holding, which is a green speckled one, that is the only one I think would be better than the actual flavor.
Oh no. I think I got the one that's like either peach or barf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it could be the one that's like strawberry smoothie or dead fish. I don't know.
Wonderful.
Either one of those, terrible. You gotta. So mine is green and speckled, and it's either
Yeah, already regretting this.
it's either
did this to
juicy
yourself.
pear or boogers. And honestly, I would rather have boogers in this case because I do not like juicy pear. That's one of my least favorite flavors here.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Toast.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You got your thing ready, Peter? For the
Yes.
toast? Okay.
Toast.
Cheers. All right.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, toothpaste. I'm gonna eat it.
I got a good one, by the way. I don't know if that was peach. I don't know if that was peach or strawberry, but whatever it was, it was great. Peter's suffering, though. Peter is very much suffering.
That isn't even the worst flavor. Like that's the thing.
You're turning red.
Don't ever say we don't treat our guests well on here.
That's
Excellent. All right, on to the next.
okay. Classic.
On to the
tradition.
next question here. From Ken. Oh, actually, no. From where and when I was. Why does everyone see human ghosts and never dinosaur ghosts?
Oh, I have a actual answer to this.
Oh, give it to us.
So yeah, ghosts aren't real. Sorry to break it to you.
Oh man.
So
Spooky.
there's a reason. So it is a constant that is found that in haunted houses, so-called haunted houses, upon further inspection, it is found that most of them have gas leaks.
Uh-huh.
And gas leaks tend to cause minor hallucinations. You know, obviously lack of oxygen and everything. And what houses usually have like poorly maintained infrastructure? Old mansions, yes, correct.
Old mansions.
Like the most haunted places are like these old Victorian mansions. What did they not have? Very
Okay,
good.
so you err on the camp that like any sort of like paranormal activity is the result of a hallucination.
Yeah.
basically.
Either severe dehydration, lack of oxygen in the air due to carbon monoxide, like all these things are, you know, I'm of the belief that especially like, you know, say take psychedelics, you know, I'm enormous party pooper here. But yeah, psychedelics, why can't we just admit that people like to have euphoric experiences? Why do they have to be transcendental? Why can't you just say like, yeah, that was good, it was fake but also good, like I did not like you did not like touch the finger of God, like you just got really high.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's perfectly fine, you know.
Listen, man, it's because Steve Jobs did, and that made him rich. And so,
what
you
am
know
I-
what? We need to.
I have an image on my computer, obviously collecting memes, huge
Wonderful.
passion. My favorite is, so there's this painting of a guy who takes old thrift store paintings and he paints dinosaurs in them.
Uh-huh.
So there's this like sort of like beautiful like Rococo-esque painting of like just this boy in a watering hole, like enjoying relaxing, you know, on an embankment basically, and right next to him is a blue triceratops.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite one is where the triceratops has a speech bubble and says, "That wasn't a microdose." That's
pretty
at
good.
least I thought that was funny. Sorry.
Anyway, so I think that there's no dinosaur ghosts mentioned because we're probably more scared of imaginations of ourselves, I think. You know?
That is true. Although Velociraptor is also very scary.
Yeah, but if it's a ghost, then it's not so scary, is it?
It's still pretty scary. I mean,
Would you be afraid of a ghost sandwich?
Oh.
Well, I'm gluten free, so like yeah.
I see.
If he was on regular bread, darn it,
Yeah.
a ghost sandwich would be the ghost of stomachs cramps past.
What are the questions you got there?
Okay, so from Griffin Dorf, he's actually got a pretty specific one here, you know. In my group of friends, I'm the one that loves Halloween. I'm always trying to throw Halloween parties and can't really get any enthusiasm from anyone, not to the extent I want. How do y'all get people into the Halloween spirit enough not to make any potential gatherings lame? This is a guy who's seeking out advice here for... You got any...
I mean,
we live in Miami. There's no shortage of parties happening here. So
that aren't lame. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
just
Right.
chill.
So certainly you must have some insight here on
um,
how to throw a good party.
how to throw a good party, Halloween party.
Good DJ.
So a good DJ, obviously. Good DJ. Fun little, snacks and everything. Obviously, I'm a big snacks sugar person, so it's got to have candy.
Especially Bean Boozled.
Yes, especially Bean Boozled. Yeah, it has to have candy. It has to have fun drinks. I believe, a while back, us and at least one other WVUMer, we stopped by a Halloween party at Technique Records. Shout out Technique Records.
Yeah.
Hey.
Record store, Miami, if you enjoy sort of multi-genre sort of record stores with maybe a bit of an emphasis on sort of new wave, post-punk kind of stuff. Enjoyable, to me at least.
Super cool place.
It's super cool, very enjoyable. And so we were there though, and they were handing out, blood bags, but in the blood bags were sangria.
Yeah, so
and for the
that's
people who were
important.
non-alcoholic, they also had just whatever, non-alcoholic sangria. That was a really nice touch. So you have the people in costumes, you have good DJ, you have, I think a big one though is, so obviously people like to have big raucous, Halloween parties, etc. Halloween is a big party holiday. But if it's your friends and everything, then I think some of the best Halloween parties are intimate affairs. So no more than maybe 30 people or so.
Yeah.
People love...
Like a Snoopy rave.
Like a Snoopy rave, yes. I've been wanting to throw Snoopy rave forever. For those of you who don't know Snoopy rave, there is a comic artist, and his name is House of Decline.
Maybe we'll have him at some point.
Yeah, that would be great. So he made a little comic about two guys dressed as Snoopy, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do something before the Snoopy rave?" and then they're all dressed as Snoopy, dancing
having a good time.
having a good time dancing to deep house music, and then one guy
in the Snoopy style, mind you.
Yeah, in the Snoopy style. And one guy comes in dressed as Brian Griffin, and they're not having that. But yeah, I want a legitimate Snoopy rave. I want to have a bunch of DJs. I want to have a space that's cool. Everybody has to dress in Snoopy. Mm-hmm. Either full Snoopy regalia or, just even if it's a little...
furry costume Snoopy.
Even if it's a little temporary tattoo of Snoopy, you're allowed in, but nobody is not... If you are not even making an effort to have Snoopy anywhere on your body, in mind or spirit, then you're not allowed at the rave.
Right, and also
rave,
you're especially not allowed if you put effort in mind and body to look like Brian Griffin.
So I think
you're especially not allowed. You
Especially
will be
not.
kicked out on the spot.
That's illegal.
I think that's generally the spirit of a Halloween party. It's for your most wild ideas to be exercised in a party, because there's no reason why everybody would be dressed as Snoopy in March.
I think you're missing one thing to make a great Halloween party. It's very important. You got to take all those scary themes of things like literal blood and all this stuff, right? All that, and turn it into something delicious. You got to have syringes of red Jello,
Delicious.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like take all the, make an arm cake. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think in a larger way, what I like about Halloween
Or
is
those breads that look conspicuously like human body
is
parts.
true, yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah, exactly.
What I-
Because if you take things that are normally horrific, but you make them happy, you know, look, it's food now. It's awesome. I love that about a good Halloween party. That's a huge thing. Just a little side thing to have.
Yeah.
I think what I love about Halloween the most is that compared to most other major holidays, there is not as much of an emphasis on nostalgia and the passage of time. That's what I think is sort of a bummer about Christmas and Thanksgiving, that you're okay, well, this is another year, we're all getting older again, this is we have to confront that all the time. you don't have to confront anything in Halloween because everybody's in costume. Everybody's having a good time, and in fact, we're just laughing in the face of death. We're not like just trying to cope with it.
Oh, I'm chill with that.
And that's a big reason why Halloween is.
What do we say to the god of death, Andy?
Go away.
That's better, actually. And the last Reddit question I have, and this is from Candy Bats. In the spirit of October, what's the creepiest supernatural or most paranormal experience that's happened to you?
Ooh.
Got anything, Peter?
I saw a flying saucer disc.
Aside from E.T., you know?
Yeah, E.T. doesn't count, man.
No, I mean, really, all my scariest like experiences are centered around E.T. Like, I didn't finish my story about the scary part of
No, I think you missed the not
of
E.T.
the
part.
line of
Uh-oh.
the line to Halloween, not to Halloween, to the E.T. ride. So you actually, in that line, you meet a character called Botanicus, who is E.T.'s like, I don't know, professor.
Yeah.
Where I guess E.T. is a botanist and he's doing like his master's thesis, like collecting samples in like the California redwoods or something. That's my theory. But yeah, he's E.T.'s teacher, and he's scarier because E.T. has like nice, like doughy, like blue eyes and everything. Terrifying on a creature like E.T., but in and of themselves not terrifying. This guy, he is an E.T. I believe
It all goes back to E.T.
It's all E.T.
I believe the
It's all E.T.? Always has been.
in the lore, so there's an actual connection between E.T. and Star Wars, and in the Star Wars lore, E.T.'s race is categorized as Anosians.
Yeah, and they're also both composed by John Williams. So
Exactly. And they're both composed by John Williams. But yeah, you meet Botanicus, and Botanicus is like very scary because like he has black eyes.
Yeah.
And that's even scarier.
Black eyes?
He has like black eyes.
Black
yeah.
ice?
Black eyes.
Ah,
No,
black
his
eyes.
eyes are completely black, no irises or
Like
anything.
the ice is black.
Yeah, like his eyes, which he uses to see and perceive the world through vision, are pure black. There is no pupil.
It's black eyes.
There is no
Ugh.
pure black. That guy is very scary to me.
What about you, Andy? Any paranormal experiences?
Nah, not really. I mean, like, I saw like I said, like some like flying disc in the air when I was a kid, and I was like, "We're just dead," you know. It's probably,
Oh, I saw a meteor
I was
once.
like, "Oh my god!"
You saw me? What?
Yeah, I saw a
When'd you see a
meteor.
meteor?
I don't know, a long time ago. That was pretty scary because I didn't know how to explain it.
Oh, like from like a shower. That we had a comet
Yeah,
shower
from,
just
like,
a couple
a-
days ago,
yeah.
actually.
Did we?
Yeah, I saw
I've
like
never seen a
I
meteor.
saw like a comet shower, yeah, and I was like scared because this is when I was very young and I was scared. I was like, are we being invaded? Is the sky falling, or are these missiles? Like I didn't know. These are immediately things that popped into my head other than that was cool.
Wait. So as a kid, you didn't know what like it could be, but you definitely knew about missiles.
I knew it was dangerous in some.
Yeah.
I had a
terrifying.
strong feeling that the world was dangerous in some capacity, and that is not,
Oh, that's not wrong.
and that's not, that's not wrong.
Oh, I believe a war has started. Sorry, guys. Yeah, there's a
in
war
the,
that
in
has
the background,
started.
There's a
In the-
fireworks
well,
going on.
In the background.
So, do we have enough time to go over why fireworks are not great?
No.
Biggest party food forever. I think it is the most tremendous waste of rare earth metals possible.
And on my part, I haven't really had any paranormal experiences. A lot of the stuff that I grew up being creeped out by, I wasn't really big into like horror movies or things like that. But I was like a lot of kids of my age into like all that creepypasta stuff, and like Ben Drowned, all that stuff. All those like internet cult stories almost. And one other thing that I always found, maybe not creepy but unsettling, were you're familiar with those shortwave radio number stations.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, we did a whole special on that, a couple of
Yes.
years ago, and that's creepy. I like things that are kind of like unsettling, even if they're not overtly trying to come out as creepy. I kind of like things that kind of toy with your mind in that way.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, number stations, it's literally you can tune into them at any point. Like they're just broadcasting random groups of numbers.
Yeah, no government will ever acknowledge that they own a number station, but they say that the purpose of these number stations is to relay information to spies across the world, and it's become kind of a pastime for some shortwave radio enthusiasts to just try to tune in when there's a number station playing, and
Yeah, they're definitely creepy. They play like carnival themes and stuff in the background, like literally like audio you would hear if you were standing in a carnival.
Yeah,
Like stuff like that. That's a cool one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a lot cooler than getting microwaved. It's trying to sleep in a hotel in Cuba.
I
You
know what
remember
you're referring
that?
to. Yeah, I know what you're referring
That's
to.
old, man.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
I wish we can get into that, but I don't think we have a whole lot
No,
of
that's
time
been
left.
that's
Yeah, I actually did want to do one more music break, and then we can wrap up with some closing remarks. How about it, guys?
That sounds beautiful.
All right.
Nice.
So we will be right back. But as always, if you'd like to text in, that's 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861. We will be right back. And welcome back to the Monkey House on WVUM's 90.5 FM, the voice of the University of Miami. I'm your co-host, Izzy.
And I'm your co-host, Andy.
Here you go. And the two songs you were just listening to were, first one was Ghost Riders in the Dark World by Louis Zong from his album The Lon Lon Sound EP. Louis Zong, pretty talented artist, musician, does a lot of cool stuff online. Recommend you check that out. And of course, he also had What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Brothers from their album Minute by Minute.
Yeah,
Absolute
wonderful.
classic.
That's
We're
a favorite
not-
of yours,
classic
Andy.
right
I
there.
swear we're cool music people. We're always like, listening to Doobie Brothers is just another one of our many things that we
Yeah.
do.
And we're joined by Peter Melero, by the way, our friend Peter Melero. For those who
yes,
are just
Peter.
tuning in, we had a great show and talking about a lot of different things. And as you can hear behind us, homecoming is underway. Fireworks are going off, and it sounds like people are having a good time. And we certainly had a great time today too. It's always wonderful to be here every year. Anything you guys would like to
Absolutely.
say?
Well, I'm just hoping that everyone tuning in was able to have a good time too. Among which is, of course, Mom, Addie, Alex, Udina, and my and Oscar. All my family. Listen, I got to shout them out. All right, whoever's listening in. But yeah, most importantly, obviously, the audience. All right, we want to make sure that everybody is kind of having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Peter?
Definitely shout out, of course, my family, my parents and brother and grandmother and everyone else, large extended family. The good people here at WVUM for making all this possible for over 50 years. Craziness. Been doing this since 1968. Officially. Officially. Also, if you want to follow me, it's on Instagram. It's Meta Melero, METAMELERO. I'm not like a serious artist or anything, but I'm just a guy who's known around town for being around.
Perfect.
And I wanted to give a special shout out to my mom, my dad, who have always supported me throughout the years. And I hope they're listening right now. Of course, wanted to give a special shout out to E-Man and Jack, who texted us throughout the
what's
show.
up, dudes?
You guys are great. Thanks for tuning in. And of course, thank you to all of you, for tuning in. It's been a great time. And if you wanted to follow me, you could do so on Instagram. That's Flan in the Pan. I mostly just post doodles and art every now and then, but
This man is a liar. He doesn't even like flan.
yeah, I don't.
I love flan.
It's true. I don't like flan. I like natilla. I like
No.
some other
Yeah.
Get out of
Latin condensed milk.
I think you
You're
just
gross.
haven't had a good flan.
But-
My family can hook you up.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's really just about it for today's show. We're gonna be back next year, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to discuss then, as 2024 election is right around that time.
Jesus.
So
think
and of
about
course,
it.
thank you, Peter, for joining us today. Always great to have you. And
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Of course, man.
Cool.
And yeah, with that, thank you all for joining us tonight. As always,
Keep it locked.
keep it locked.